The King, the Maiden, and the Hidden Illness of the Heart, a prose rendering of the first story of Rumi's Masnavi. Rumi begins after the cry of the reed with a story. It seems at first to be a story about a king, a maiden, and a goldsmith. But as with many of Rumi's stories, the outer tale is only the door. Behind that door, there is another world. This is not only a story of love, it is a story of attachment. It is not only about sickness in the body. It is about the secret sickness of the heart. It is not only about a man who heals. It is about the wisdom that sees what ordinary eyes cannot see. Once there was a king. He had power, wealth, servants, horses, gardens, palaces, and command over many people. If he spoke, others listened. If he ordered, others obeyed. In the eyes of the world, he lacked nothing. But Rumi wants us to know something from the beginning. A person may have power over a kingdom and still have no power over his own heart. One day the king went out hunting. He rode through the open land with his men. The morning was clear, the horses moved quickly, and the king was surrounded by the noise and confidence of royal life. Then, on the road, he saw a young maiden. Her beauty touched him at once. In a single moment, his heart was taken from him. The hunt was forgotten. The horses, the servants, the pride of the day, all fell into the background. Only her face remained before him. The king desired her. He wanted her near him. He wanted her in his palace. He thought that if he could bring her into his world, his longing would be satisfied. So he paid a great price and brought her home. This is how the story begins on the surface. But beneath the surface, Rumi is already speaking about the human soul. The king is not only a king, he is the powerful self inside us, the part that believes it can possess whatever it loves. The maiden is not only a young woman, she is the beautiful image that captures the heart. And the hunting road is not only a road, it is the path of worldly pursuit, where we often meet the thing that suddenly rules us. The king thought he had found happiness. He thought desire would end when the desired thing came close. But desire is not peace. Soon after the maiden entered the palace, she became ill. Her face lost its color. Her body grew weak. Her eyes, once full of life, began to fade. The palace was full of comfort, but she could not be comforted. She had fine rooms, but she had no rest. The king became frightened. He called the doctors of the land and asked them to save her. They came with confidence. They examined her. They gave medicines. They spoke as people speak when they trust too much in their own knowledge. They said, "We will cure her," but they forgot humility. They forgot that healing is not in human hands alone. They forgot to say, "God willing," and every medicine they gave made her worse. Here, Rumi gives us one of the first lessons of the story. Knowledge without humility can become blind. Skill without surrender can lose its blessing. A doctor may know the body and still fail to understand the soul. The maiden's illness was not an ordinary illness. Her body was speaking, but the wound was hidden in the heart. The king saw that his power could not help him. His crown could not heal her. His wealth could not save her. He had brought her into his palace, but he could not bring life back into her face. At last, the king turned away from pride. He went into prayer. He lowered his head. He placed his face on the ground. He cried out to God as a helpless man, not as a ruler. "O Lord," he prayed, "I have no strength. I thought I had command, but now I see that I own nothing. Send me help from your mercy." This is the first cure in the story. Before the maiden is healed, the king must be humbled. Before the hidden illness is revealed, the king must learn that command is not enough. The door of wisdom opens only when pride falls silent. That night, the king saw a dream. In the dream, he was told that his prayer had been heard. A man would come to him. This man would not be like the other doctors. He would be a hakim, a true physician, a healer who knows the body, but also knows the soul. The next morning, the king stood at the gate and waited. When the man appeared from a distance, the king recognized him. Sometimes the heart knows the answer before the mind has proof. The king ran to welcome him. He did not receive him with the cold pride of a ruler. He received him like a thirsty man receiving water. He honored him, brought him into the palace, and placed before him the pain that had defeated all the others. The hakim came to the maiden. He did not hurry. He did not boast. He did not promise before he understood. He sat beside her and looked with a different kind of seeing. The first doctors had looked at the surface. The hakim looked through the surface. He watched her face. He listened to her breath. He held her wrist and felt her pulse. Then, gently, he began to ask about her past. He named cities, he named places, and he named roads and people. With each name, he felt her pulse. At first, nothing changed. Then he mentioned Samarkand. Her pulse moved. The hakim understood that the secret was close. He continued. He spoke of the streets of Samarkand. He spoke of its markets and craftsmen. Then he mentioned a goldsmith. At that name, the maiden's pulse changed again. The hidden wound had spoken. This is one of the most beautiful moments in the story. The maiden does not need to confess with words. Her pulse confesses for her. Rumi is telling us that the heart has its own language. A person may hide the truth from others. A person may even hide it from himself. But somewhere in the body, the truth still moves. A name is spoken and the pulse changes. A memory returns and the breath changes. A desire is touched and the face changes. The hakim understands. The maiden's body is in the king's palace, but her heart is in Samarkand. She is surrounded by royal comfort, but inwardly she is far away. She is not dying because there is no medicine. She is fading because her heart is attached to the goldsmith. This is the secret illness, and this is why the ordinary doctors failed. They treated the body, but the root was not in the body. They treated the symptom, but the wound was deeper. The hakim went to the king and told him the truth. The maiden loves a goldsmith in Samarkand. Her illness is the illness of hidden attachment. Now the king had to face something painful. The woman he loved did not love him. Her heart belonged elsewhere. The king could have become angry. He could have used his power. He could have punished the maiden or destroyed the man she loved. That is what wounded pride often wants to do. But the king had already begun to change. He had prayed. He had humbled himself. He now listened to the hakim. The hakim told him to send for the goldsmith. Bring him from Samarkand, he said. Honor him. Give him gifts. Let him come willingly. So the king sent messengers. They went to Samarkand and found the goldsmith. They spoke to him with respect. They offered him wealth, honor, fine clothes, and a place near the king. The goldsmith was pleased. He saw fortune opening before him. He saw gold, comfort, and royal favor. He did not understand that he had been invited into a spiritual story. He thought he was entering a palace, but he was really entering a mirror. So he came. When the maiden saw him, life returned to her. Her face became bright. Her body grew stronger. The illness that had frightened the king began to disappear. For a time, she and the goldsmith were allowed to be together. Outwardly, this seems like the cure. She desired him, and now she had him. The fever fell, the color returned, the body revived. But Rumi does not stop here because the cure is not complete. If a hidden attachment is simply fed, it may look like healing for a while, but the heart is not free. It has only received the object of its captivity. The maiden is better, but she is not yet free. The goldsmith is near her, but the deeper sickness remains. Her heart is still bound to appearance, charm, and desire. So the hakim prepares another medicine. This is the difficult part of the story, and it must be heard with the inner ear. The medicine slowly weakens the goldsmith. Day by day, his strength decreases. His color fades, his beauty disappears. The shining image that had captured the maiden begins to lose its shine. And as his beauty fades, her love for him fades too. This is the place where Rumi's meaning must be understood carefully. Rumi is not teaching cruelty. He is not saying that one person may harm another person because of love. He is not giving a rule for ordinary life. This is a symbolic story. The goldsmith represents the glitter of the world. He represents gold, beauty, surface, charm, and desire. He represents the false beloved, the thing that shines so brightly in the imagination that the heart mistakes it for truth. The maiden loved him because he glittered, but when the glitter faded, the love faded. So Rumi asks a silent question. If love disappears when beauty disappears, what kind of love was it? If love depends on color, youth, strength, charm, and appearance, is it love or is it attachment? The goldsmith's fading is the fading of illusion. His death is the death of the false image inside the heart. The story is not asking us to approve of killing. It is asking us to understand that false attachment must die if the soul is to be healed. Every heart has a goldsmith, something bright, something beautiful, something that seems to promise completion. It may be a person, it may be wealth, it may be success, it may be fame, it may be youth, beauty, power, approval, or a dream of the life we think we should have had. We look at it and say, if only I had this, I would be whole. But Rumi says, look again. Is it truly love, or is it only a shining chain? The maiden had to see the goldsmith without his glitter. Only then could the spell be broken. Only then could her heart begin to return to itself. When the goldsmith finally dies, the outer story becomes dark, but the inner meaning becomes clear. The false beloved has lost its power. The idol has fallen. The attachment has been cut. The maiden is no longer ruled by the image that once made her sick. This is why the hakim is the true healer. He does not only remove pain, he removes the root of pain. He does not only ask, what do you want? He asks, what has captured you? He does not only restore the body, he frees the heart from the wrong master. The king is also being healed. At the beginning, he believes love means possession. He sees the maiden, wants her, buys her, and brings her into his palace. He thinks closeness is enough, but the story teaches him that no one can own another heart. A king may own a palace, but not a soul. He may command servants, but not love. He may bring the body near, but the heart may still be far away. Through suffering, the king learns surrender. He learns that the heart cannot be healed by force. It can only be healed by truth, humility, and divine wisdom. The maiden is healed too, but not by being given her desire forever. She is healed when desire loses its false power. This is one of Rumi's deepest lessons. Sometimes healing does not mean receiving what we want. Sometimes healing means being freed from wanting it. Sometimes mercy gives. Sometimes mercy takes away. And sometimes what feels like loss is the breaking of a chain. The ordinary eye sees only the pain of separation. The inner eye sees the beginning of freedom. This is why Rumi's stories are not simple. They are not written only to comfort us. They are written to wake us. He wants us to ask difficult questions. What name changes my pulse? What hidden desire has made me restless? What goldsmith lives inside my heart? What beautiful thing have I mistaken for my salvation? The maiden's illness is our illness whenever our hearts are secretly tied to what cannot truly heal us. The king's helplessness is our helplessness whenever power, money, status, or intelligence fails before the mystery of the heart. The doctor's failure is our failure whenever we trust knowledge without humility. The goldsmith's death is the death of false attachment, the fading of the glitter that once deceived us, and the hakim is the mercy of God, the guide, the wisdom, the deep seeing that comes when the soul is ready to be honest. The hakim does not arrive when the king is proud. He arrives after prayer. This matters. Rumi is showing us that divine wisdom enters through humility. The king's tears prepare the way. The moment he admits that he cannot solve everything, help begins to move toward him. A heart that says, I know everything, cannot be taught. A heart that says, I am helpless, can receive guidance. So the story moves from pride to prayer, from surface to secret, from desire to truth, from attachment to freedom. And at the center of it all is the pulse. The pulse is the body's honesty. It reveals what the tongue hides. It tells the healer where the soul trembles. It shows that the real illness is connected to a hidden beloved. This is why the story remains powerful. Each of us has a pulse that changes when certain things are named. A lost love, an old wound, a place we left behind, a dream we could not reach, a person we cannot forget, a version of ourselves we still mourn. We may continue our daily lives. We may work, speak, smile, and look normal, but inwardly, the heart may still be in Samarkand. Rumi is asking us to bring that hidden Samarkand into the light, not to shame it, not to hate it, but to see it clearly. Because what is hidden cannot be healed. When the hidden attachment is revealed, the path of healing begins. When the false goldsmith loses his shine, the soul remembers its true direction. When the king bows, the hakim comes. This story begins with a king who wants to possess beauty. It continues with a maiden whose body is sick because her heart is far away. It turns through a dream, a prayer, and the arrival of a healer. It becomes difficult when the goldsmith fades, and it becomes luminous when we understand that the goldsmith is not only a man in the story. He is everything false that the heart worships because it glitters. Rumi does not ask us to reject beauty. He asks us not to become its prisoner. He does not ask us to hate love. He asks us to purify it. He does not ask us to deny desire. He asks us to see where desire leads. And if desire leads us to truth, it can become a bridge. If desire traps us in illusion, it becomes a prison. The maiden's love for the goldsmith was a prison because it depended on the surface. When the surface changed, the love disappeared. This is how attachment reveals itself. It cannot survive the loss of its image, but true love is different. True love does not die when the face changes. It does not depend only on youth, gold, beauty, or possession. True love opens the heart. False love narrows it. True love brings freedom. False love brings sickness. This is why the story is placed near the beginning of the Masnavi. Rumi is teaching us how to listen. Do not listen only to the outer events. Listen to the secret movement inside them. Do not ask only what happened to the king, the maiden, and the goldsmith. Ask what is happening inside me. Where am I the king wanting to possess? Where am I the maiden sick with hidden longing? Where am I the goldsmith shining with borrowed beauty? Where are my doctors full of skill but empty of humility? And where is the hakim, the true guide, waiting to be welcomed? At the end, the greatest healing in the story is not that the king gets what he wants. It is that illusion loses its throne. The heart cannot become whole while it worships what is passing. The heart cannot be free while it kneels before a false image. The heart cannot know real love until the smaller loves are purified. So Rumi leaves us with a quiet truth. The illness of the heart is often hidden. The cure may come in a form we do not expect. The thing we call love may sometimes be attachment. The thing we call loss may sometimes be mercy. And the death of the false beloved may be the birth of the soul's freedom. The king thought the maiden would complete him. The maiden thought the goldsmith would heal her. The doctors thought their knowledge would save her. But the true cure came from the hakim, from the wisdom that sees beneath the surface. May we learn to recognize that wisdom. May we have the courage to listen to our own pulse. May we see the goldsmiths of our hearts before they make us sick. And may every false glitter lead us at last toward the light that does not fade.